Well, today is May 29th, and we're about 5-6 days removed from planting these beans in this plot we call North Grown Up that we talked about that day. But today we're putting up the non-typical electric fence to protect these beans. What we did, obviously, we talked about this, was we expanded this food plot so that we'd have a lot more browse. Last year the beans, we didn't put quite big enough plot and they got destroyed, you know, before we really want them to at the end of the season. So we made this plot roughly about 3 times bigger, and we're getting this fence out early. Try to keep the deer out of it from the start, let these beans grow up. This fence is a pretty cool tool that it's well worth your money if you're ever doing a bean plot or any type of plot that you really expect the deer to hammer. And Uriah did a little segment when we first bought this, so we'll go to that. He explained how the fence works.
I'm standing out here over one of our biggest forage soybean food plots. It's about 1 acre in size, and we have the hot zone deer enclosure system from Non-Typical Wildlife Solutions protecting it. And as you can see, it's doing really well. Now, I am actually literally standing in another food plot. It's a lot smaller. It's only about 15 pounds of beans in this little plot, but it's actually further away from the deer's bedding. And it has been browsed down so heavily, it hasn't even reached half the height as the beans inside the fence have. So that is a true testament to that product. Absolutely a great product to eliminate deer browse pressure on your food plots until you're ready to allow them to do so. Now, a couple things I noticed when setting this fence up is on this particular food plot, this entire field slopes downhill a little bit. And in this food plot, there are several little trenches throughout the food plot. That is actually the water runoff from this field. And there's sharp little elevation changes that if you don't strategically place your posts properly, the actual line is going to be hitting the ground or come really close to it. So what I had to do with setting the post up is I had to strategically place them on top of those elevation changes. Because if you follow the 11 yards apart, the recommended spacing between the posts, it was falling right in some of them trenches. So I had to move some of the posts around a little bit to still keep that line up off the ground. Also, when you go to set up the line tensioners, whether it be on the corner of the food plot or in the middle of a long run, after your entire fence is put up and you're ready to turn it on, you got to cinch your line down because it's going to be sagging a little bit. These tensioners do a really good job at that. Now, make sure when you start to crank these tensioners down, that they're about 1 foot or 2 away from a post. Because if you have them in between 2 posts, directly in between them, it's going to cause a nice little paperweight on your fence once you've tightened the line down, and it's going to cause it to sag a little bit. So keep them about 1 foot or 2 away from your post and you'll be fine.
June 17th, we planted these beans, I believe it's May 23rd, and they're somewhere in the ballpark of around 6 inches or most of the vegetation. We got just a little bit of Johnson grass and some other weeds popping up. So this is really the optimal time to go ahead and spray, get these out of here. So you can, if you let them grow too much, you can do too much, they get too big and you only stunt the growth. You're not going to get rid of it, so we can let these beans express their full potential. So anyways, we got the real world beans up here. This is, we talk about the spot all the time, North Grown Up, the redneck behind me, and this is where we hope to catch up with BLT.
Well, today we've got a beautiful day. It's mid-July here in southern Indiana, and we've got a project that Will and I have been wanting to work on for a while. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about entry and exit, and I'm going to tell you about this project that we're doing here today, creating a path that leads basically from the spot where I am standing to another spot that we call food plot number 2. If you look behind me, you can see how grown up this has really gotten over the years. The landowner is doing nothing with this property, and so what we're going to do, I already did this about 3 weeks to a month ago. I came through here and I have already created a trail that heads from southeast up to the northwest of food plot 2. So once again, entry and exit routes, very important. Come along as Will hops on the mower and I get up in the air for the drone, and we bring you along for this next segment. So Will just got the path all mowed off and cleared off again. We're gonna bring you along with us and we're gonna walk through there. And you can see these cedar trees are taller than we are. This is gonna create great cover as we transition from southeast to northwest, heading up to food plot 2. We'll totally bypass the sanctuary now and food plot 1, and we only go to food plot 1 when we need to, or into the sanctuary, only to check a trail camera from time to time. So come along and let's take a look at what this looks like. So we've arrived here at food plot number 2, and we're gonna slide in here, and this is exactly what we wanted to create, was just this way to get up here without disturbing the deer in food plot 1 or back up in the sanctuary. And I tell you, I am just so impressed with this Real World Wildlife Products clover and chicory blend. We frost seeded this. This has been minimal effort as far as on our part. It did require some work, but not as heavy work as like when we were doing the brassica blends in here. And so last year this was a brassica blend, and all we did, we came in here this year and we just seeded it, and then we put fertilizer down. And I tell you, we've got a nice lush stand of clover. We'll be putting a trail camera up here in the very near future. We definitely got deer transitioning the area. We've got pictures up in the sanctuary of deer. So this is just a beautiful spot with a nice lush stand here now of Real World Wildlife Products clover and chicory blend. And so as we wrap this segment up, we just want to remind you, entry and exit is so important. And for several years I've been wanting to do this and I haven't done it, and it has definitely caused me to bump deer in the past, and we want to try to avoid that this year. So think about your entry and exit, and then also creating a habitat that will attract the deer to your locations and hold them throughout the season. We appreciate you tuning in. God bless you, and we hope you have a great season this year.